Happy Hump Day! Welcome into our Sportsverse Studios. Gabrielle Amado alongside George D. Metellus for the latest edition of the
G-Unit!
Sportsverse! Yes, and for the past couple days, George, we have been talking almost exclusively about Barcelona, Ernesto Valverde, Quique Setién, completely not even realizing that we are officially halfway through the January transfer window. Today is January 15th, and it's time to hop on the transfer train, choo-choo, and break down all of the transfers that have already happened, what's the latest on them, and if we think that they will be done by January 30th. So Sportsverse, a very special transfer edition of Sportsverse, starts right now. So right now we are seeing images of Jose Mourinho's first signing under
who could it
Spurs.
be?
It is Gedson Fernandes from Benfica. This is a done deal. As I said, Jose Mourinho's first signing as Spurs manager. It is an 18-month loan deal. He is 21 years old. There is an option to buy at the end of this loan deal, around $72 million. But this is a midfielder coming from Benfica who is very highly rated. Interestingly enough, though, we haven't seen him play much. Not even Benfica fans have seen him play much. He fell out with their current manager. He is a full Portuguese international, so he has already played with the Seleção Portuguesa. And so, yeah, this is an interesting one because Jose Mourinho obviously looking to strengthen his midfield. He's obviously a lot of injuries he's had to take into consideration. Sissoko, Harry Kane up top. So he's trying to strengthen this midfield, and he's decided this 21-year-old is the way to do that.
Yeah, well done. I mean, look, I haven't seen him play at all, so I don't really know much about Gedson Fernandes. But one thing we know about Jose Mourinho is that he's been a decent evaluator of talent. He, especially before Real Madrid, when he was with Chelsea and Porto, and when he had lesser budgets and he was getting players like this, that's when he was really at his best. So I think this is a move that can work out very well for Tottenham. I've never seen him play, so I don't know how good he is. But if Jose Mourinho did the scouting and knows where he is, and you mentioned Benfica, a great place to develop, along with Sporting. I got to say that too. Sporting, very great place to develop.
He knows who's sitting at a table.
Yeah, I mean, Figo and Ronaldo, that's all you need to know right there.
And Nani,
Sporting. And Nani.
And Eric Dyer, and the list goes on and on.
Oh, no. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
For sure, yeah. So I'm interested to see what happens. But I think Mourinho is starting to put his imprint on this team like he did the first go-around at Chelsea and then when he won the Champions League with Porto.
You say that you haven't really seen him play much. I mean, in his couple appearances for the Portuguese national team, there's definitely rays of sunshine and of promise. But Benfica fans, like I said in that little intro, they haven't really seen him play much either. He's had 13 league matches. He's played in 13 league matches over the past 18 months. So like I said, interesting falling out between him and the Benfica manager. A very high price tag for someone who is, again, so young and hasn't exactly played so much. I mean, 13 league matches in 18 months is not a lot. So it'll be interesting to see how he does under Jose Mourinho.
Especially in that league, Premier League,
Guys, little fun fact, his agent is super agent Jorge Mendes, which is also something that we have to take into consideration because we know that Jorge Mendes is Jose Mourinho's agent and they do business together quite often.
I'm not going to lie. When he got out the car, I was like, oh, my God, they signed Jaden Smith? And I was like, wait a minute.
Oh, no, he does look like Jaden Smith.
I don't know why he reminds me of Jaden Smith, but no one knows.
So speaking of Tottenham, we see a lot of you in the comment section asking about Eriksen, so we'll give you an Eriksen update. The question is, I mean, he's going to leave Tottenham. That is no longer a question. Eriksen will no longer be a Tottenham player. The question is, will that happen in this January window? And will Tottenham get some money for him? Or will they wait until the summer and let him go on a free? What do you think is going to happen?
If they're smart, they will get some money for him.
Right.
If they're smart. I always look back to the example of Lewandowski when he was with Dortmund. He played out his contract. They didn't sell him. And then he went to Bayern on a free, and then ever since then he's been scoring goals for fun with Bayern.
Right.
And Dortmund didn't get a penny for him.
Right.
I think Dortmund learned after that. I don't think that Eriksen will, or Tottenham will make that mistake again this time. They will sell him in the summer and in the winter transfer window, get some money for him. And with Gedson Fernandes there, that might be his replacement, or at least someone that could play a little bit of those minutes. So if Tottenham is smart, they'll sell him this winter, and get him into Milan or in the city of Milan quickly.
So word on the street, just like George just said, is that he has pretty much decided that he wants to go to Inter, and Inter want him.
Yeah.
So Inter have offered $13 million for him. Spurs have said no because they want closer to 26. So there is a huge discrepancy over those two numbers. Inter and Tottenham will have to come to some kind of agreement. The Inter sporting director is in London to try and negotiate this deal. But interestingly enough, PSG are kind of waiting on the outskirts to see how this whole thing plays out. I don't think PSG will go in and make a move for him in this January window, but if Inter and Tottenham cannot come to an agreement, maybe PSG in for Eriksen over the summer.
Right.
So,
and even you talk about, was it 26 you said for Tottenham that they want?
That's what Tottenham want.
Well, PSG could pay that out of their pocket. That's chump change for PSG.
I saw Raul Rodriguez here saying they need a backup striker for Kane still. He's been so injury prone away after the new year. And Raul, speaking of Tottenham, they are making arrangements to find a backup for Harry Kane, who, as we know, is going to be out for 4 months. Ooh. 2 replacements on the line. We'll start with Piątek. Zlatan arrives at AC Milan, essentially pushing Piątek even further down the pecking order. This was a striker that had a lot of promise during his days at Genoa. He was the mega money signing in last January transfer window. A lot of excitement around him, and he's kind of fallen flat on his face.
It's not really his fault, though.
Right.
It's not his fault. I mean, Milan, we all know the club's a mess. They change managers every 2 days, it seems like. I mean, they change managers more often than my nephew changes diapers, and he's like 1 year old.
That's
you know
a
what I'm
lot of
saying?
changes.
That's a lot of changes. So how can he get into a groove? How can we get into a rhythm and understand one system if every manager, they have so many different managers? So we know Milan's a mess. If I were him, I'd leave in a heartbeat. Go someplace where you have a steady manager who's a proven manager in Mourinho, in a team that wants to win. Obviously, big money. He's going to get paid more at Tottenham than he would at Milan. So I think he should go. I think it's the right move for him, and I think Tottenham should be aggressive in getting him.
So Tottenham and Jose Mourinho have looked at Piątek as maybe an option to come in and be that Harry Kane replacement, but they cannot agree on the terms. So Milan really want to offload his wages 100%, and Tottenham don't want to pick up that huge bill. They would like to do maybe a 50-50 split in his wages, so they seem to not be coming or seeing eye to eye on this.
This might be one that comes down to the very last day of the transfer window. Like it's going to come down to the end. They're going to do some negotiating here because I think both sides want to get this done. Milan, as you mentioned, want to offload him.
Right.
Tottenham want to have him at White Hart Lane. Well, they don't play at White Hart Lane anymore, but in North London. And
at the new beautiful stadium.
Yeah, the great new stadium by Tottenham. That's an Arsenal fan saying that. So big up to all y'all Tottenham fans there. That stadium is great. So let's see what happens there, but it's going to get done. It just might take a while longer. They might push it right toward the deadline.
So if this doesn't happen, which I think it's not going to happen.
You don't think it's going to happen?
No, I don't think Piątek will not be a Spurs player. I think that Jose Mourinho is going to go instead for Zé Luís. This is a Portuguese striker. Now, again, like I mentioned about Gedson Fernandes, guess who's his agent? Jorge Mendes. So this is a 28-year-old striker currently playing for Porto, as you see. And I think that this is maybe a better fit, not only because he plays in the Portuguese league and the whole Jorge Mendes thing, but I think that Spurs just do not have the money to bring Piątek right now.
Yeah, it probably might be a little too much, as you mentioned, too much money. And Tottenham has never been a big money club in terms of breaking $100 million for transfers or anything like that.
Right.
So this might be a better move. And why not? You get Gedson Fernandes and Zé Luís. You're talking about a pretty solid duo for the future. And look, Harry Kane might not be with Tottenham much longer. Maybe one more season, and then they sell him to a bigger club for big money, especially if he recovers. So this might be a good replacement for him. And if Piątek comes in the summer, then they might be set up for long-term at striker.
I heard a really interesting conversation this morning when doing a bunch of research about these transfers, because you just spoke about the leaving Tottenham and going to a bigger club. In the case of Eriksen, who wants to go to Inter, is Inter a bigger club than Tottenham at the moment?
At the moment, yes.
At Tottenham, who are still in the Champions League, and Inter Milan is not. Yeah. At Tottenham, who have Jose Mourinho at the helm. And Inter, you think, is still a step up for Eriksen?
Yeah, because Inter is challenging for the Scudetto. They'll be in the Champions League next year. There's no guarantee that Tottenham will be in the Champions League next season. And look, Inter have won the Champions League before. They have won European titles before. Tottenham doesn't have the history that Inter has. So it is a step up for him. But if you are Tottenham, if you're a fan, you're going, man, we could have sold Eriksen to Real Madrid for like 3 times the money over the summer, and we didn't. And we let Pochettino go. Now we're struggling in the Premier League. Oh, that was some bad bit of business there, keeping Eriksen too long. I think they kept him too long.
Raul Rodriguez, speaking about that point, if Spurs don't make top 4, they will lose players in the summer, I think, because no Champions League, and they need that, especially for the money stadium.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll speak a little bit about money later on in the show. Speaking of fabulous strikers, we'll move on from Tottenham's problems and move into PSG and Atletico Madrid trying to come to an agreement for Edinson Cavani. This is an interesting one. Edinson Cavani reportedly has some kind of deal already in the works with Atletico Madrid. This is the man who, as we see here, was key for PSG up until this season, up until the arrival of Icardi. If you are Cavani, do you leave or do you continue to fight for your place on this team?
Ooh, man, that's a good question. Especially this team where they could win Champions League. They have that kind of squad this year. But if he wants to play more, you have to go to Atleti. And look, that Garra Charrua, he's going to track back and defend as Cholo Simeone wants. So he's going to make that effort. And Morata is good. I like Angel Correa, I should say. I almost called him Angel Email because Correa is email. Whatever. Correo. The male Angel, whatever. The point is,
to your Spanish lesson.
There you go, Spanish lesson of the day. We are in Miami, you know. But this is, I think, man, that's if I'm Cavani, I would stay.
Really?
I would stay because he has a stronger possibility of winning the Champions League with PSG than he does with Atleti, and he doesn't have that on his resume yet. So I would stay. Ride the M&M all the way to the Champions League final, baby. That's what you got to do.
Well, the latest on this move is that Atleti CEO has traveled to Paris to try and close this deal out. But the real problem is that even if Cavani goes, don't you think PSG then needs to find a replacement? Because what happens if you have an Icardi who picks up an injury and you're trying to fight for the Champions League?
Yeah, you're gonna need. Well, here's the thing.
Or do they let him go and not find a replacement?
Well, they might have someone in their youth academy that can fill in those minutes. Look, he's been getting minutes behind Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting. Now, Choupo-Moting is not near the level of Cavani or Icardi, but he's serviceable. And if you have Neymar and Mbappe and Di Maria, you can absorb the loss of Cavani a lot more than if you're another team where he's the primary striker. So I don't know if they need to find a replacement for him, but I do think they can afford to let him go.
So let's say this deal falls through and Cavani takes your advice. He stays at PSG. He wants to win the Champions League. He's going to give this another half of the season go. Atletico Madrid have figured out a plan B, reportedly. They want to swap Thomas Lemar and get Lacazette. So it would be offering Lemar plus cash to pick up Arsenal's Lacazette. What do you make of this move?
Well, as an Arsenal fan, I don't like it.
Really?
But because I want to keep Lacazette because he's a very good goal scorer, and I think he's starting to develop a good partnership with Aubameyang. At the same time,
most definitely.
At the same time, I think Lemar, they could use some width on Arsenal, so Lemar could fit. And for Atleti, they get a striker that can score goals. I would take Lacazette over Morata, just barely, but I would take Lacazette over Morata. They do need that depth. So I think as in general football terms, that's a move that Atleti should make. Even if the Cavani thing falls through, I think they should make that move anyway because Lemar is not getting playing time, and he's definitely not in the plans.
Let's see what you guys are saying in the comment section. Mehran Tushi saying Atletico has been going to top 4 in the Champions League more than PSG in recent years with similar squads. He has more chance at winning it at Atleti. Interesting, Mehran, because a lot of people point to PSG really as the favorites to win this Champions League. Oh, I think.
Yeah, they look good. They look tremendous in the group stage. But look, I would ride Neymar, Mbappe, and Icardi all the way. And it looks like Neymar might actually be healthy this part of the season.
Well, knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
Sister's birthday hasn't happened yet.
Like I said, bring the Carnival to Paris. Don't have them go to Brazil. Bring the Carnival to Paris and have some fun. You know what I'm saying? But Atleti's a good team. Who knows what they have? Who do they have next? Liverpool?
Yes, Liverpool.
They're not getting past Liverpool. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I don't think they're getting past Liverpool. I'm sorry.
Not really a hot take, but I wanted to press the button.
I like that. That's
John
cool.
I is saying it's a win-win situation for both clubs. Who do you think makes out better in this deal if the Lemar-Lacazette swap does happen?
Oh, Atleti all the way.
Because they're offloading a player who really hasn't fit into Diego Simeone's system, and let's be real, Diego Simeone has kind of ruined him. And getting a player that they need, which is a player to score goals.
Yeah, and Lacazette, from his days at Lyon, he knows what it's like to have to do a little bit of work defensively. Lyon is a very physical, athletic league more than its skill.
Right.
So, or Ligue 1, I should say. So he's going to need to do that. He's used to doing some hard work to help out the team.
Des Norris bringing up a great point, which I also don't have an answer for you, Des. Why on earth would Arsenal want to get rid of Lacazette? Him and Aubameyang are keeping that club afloat.
That's why I say, as an Arsenal fan, I don't like the move because they're both excellent. They're both great. They have a good partnership, but who knows? I don't know if Mikel Arteta requested that or if the board want to generate some funds to make a big move in the summer. I don't know. But as an Arsenal fan, I don't want him to leave.
It is the latest rumor on the street, though.
Yeah.
Ryan Moran saying a lot of people look at PSG to win the UCL, or does Gabby look at PSG to win the UCL? I don't know,
No,
Ryan.
a lot
you
of
tell
people.
me. I do look at PSG to win the UCL. I think that if they're going to do it, it's this season. It's with these players. And if they don't do it, this team will be dismantled this summer, and we will never see them play again.
Probably.
But
Look,
Ryan, you let me know what you think.
No, a lot of people are saying PSG is going to win it or the heavy favorites to win it. So it's not just Gabby. There's a bunch of people in the office as well. Yeah, it's a bunch of us. A lot.
Speaking of strikers, Giroud has been a heavy name in this January transfer window. Obviously falling down the pecking order at Frank Lampard's Chelsea.
You always said Chelsea's Lampard?
Frank Chelsea's Lampard. No.
Nice.
At Frank Lampard's Chelsea. Tammy Abraham really stepping up and bumping this guy, like I said, down the pecking order. Where could you see him go? Because Inter also interested in maybe bringing him to Milan.
Well, it's obvious that they're not going to they don't need him to score goals, Inter.
Right.
Because Martinez and Lukaku are taking care of that.
Right.
So he's someone that can back up those two and just occupy defenders like he did at the World Cup, more than anything. He could be that kind of number 9. He's not a great goal scorer. Everybody knows that. But he occupies defenders, maybe frees up some space, gives Conte a little more flexibility with his strikers, maybe rests Lautaro Martinez on occasion. So I'm not a fan of it in terms of his goal production, but in terms of his tactical usage by Conte, it could work out well for Inter.
Sean Kiel saying this Liverpool team will be dismantled regardless of load of those players are good signings. I don't think this Liverpool team will be dismantled. I think they're going to stick together. And I think, if anything, they could get even stronger, which at the end of this transfer train choo-choo journey, I'm going to tell you about a rumor that's going to blow your mind. Richard, get ready. Johnny Glass, my pick to win the Champions League. They're crushing it in the Premier League. Okay.
Makes sense.
They do a two-peat.
Makes sense.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But Chelsea and Inter have reportedly agreed on a $5 million deal for this man to go to Milan. So we'll just keep an eye on it. Yeah. Whoa.
Oh, man, they overpaid for that.
Really?
Yeah, man, that's 3.5.
What do you want to pay for Giroud?
That's 3.5 right there. For someone who's, like I said, doesn't score a lot of goals, is just there tactically to kind of occupy defenders. Oh, man, I don't know. That sounds a little expensive to me.
Mehran saying PSG hasn't really proven that dominant winning performance in front of big clubs. Do you not remember their performance against Real Madrid? Both performances against Real Madrid?
Yep.
Let's go rewatch that game.
Yeah. Especially in Paris.
We talked about Gedson Fernandes.
Gedson.
Which a lot of people confuse with Bruno Fernandes. And they're two completely different people on opposite sides of Lisbon. So get them straight. This man from Sporting has long been linked with a move out of Sporting, a Sporting club that are in need of money. So they need to sell him. Over the summer, he was offered to Tottenham before the Jose Mourinho days. Ooh. But Tottenham were offering around 70 mil, but paid in installments, and Sporting wanted more up front.
Yeah.
Fast forward to today, he is linked heavily with a move to Manchester United in this January window. It appears to be all done and dusted. Guess who's brokering this deal? George Mendes.
Man, I need him to be my agent.
So he's not Bruno Fernandes' agent, but he's been brought in to broker the deal.
Gotcha.
Because, obviously the man is very well connected.
Yeah, obviously. Yep.
Even Rio Ferdinand has had his hand in this move. He tweeted Bruno and which is clear with a little the sand glass emoji.
Oh, the timing thing. Okay.
Time, yes. Yeah. So it appears that this one is going to be done and dusted. It could be announced as soon as today.
You know what? I need to start watching more Portuguese club football.
Yeah, you do, because this player is sensational.
He is?
He has outgrown Sporting for quite some time. He was superb for the Portuguese national team too. So this is, this is a great pickup by Manchester United. I just wish he was going to a club that had a little bit more promise.
Yeah, that was the thing. The only thing I could say is the way Manchester United is right now. you talking about ruining a player. You don't want that to happen.
Right.
Now, if they
but I think he will stand on his own 2 feet.
Okay,
and,
that's
and,
good.
and
That's
he'll
good.
help this Manchester United.
But it'll help Manchester United if they get rid of Pogba. If they get rid of Pogba, that means more playing time for him. No one in the midfield to kind of get in his way. And that could help blossom his game. And then obviously the right manager as well, because Solskjaer, I don't think is going to be there much longer.
Right. So this center attacking midfielder, Bruno Fernandes, could be headed to Manchester United as soon as today. Write it in paper. When you guys see it later, you'll remember the show. Let's move on. Mariano Diaz linked with a move to Benfica. So Benfica just sold Raúl de Tomás to Espanyol. They are now in need of a striker, and this man may be on the way.
Go.
What?
Go.
No, don't go.
Go.
Real Madrid
Why? Because it's
fan.
Benfica?
No, that's funny though. No, I'm not totally biased. Real Madrid have a little bit of a striker situation ahead of the weekend. Karim Benzema is injured. Luka Jovic is not fully training. He trained inside because he has a massive blister on his toe.
Ooh.
So guess who, as of right now, is your only available striker for Real Madrid?
Yeah,
This man with the blonde tips.
But
I don't think he has the blonde tips anymore, but
how much has he? He hasn't been productive this season. Like how many? Has 2
no,
goals.
he
and all
did play well in the
competitions?
Supercopa.
But he's gonna have to step up. First of all, they shouldn't have given him the number 7. That was just wrong.
No, thank God that's been taken away.
Okay, good, because man, he doesn't deserve it, and that was just too much pressure on him.
Right.
But if he comes through and produces, and they need him, then good for him. But I think for his career, look, he blew up at Lyon, right? That's why Real Madrid wanted him back. And I've said this before. You go to Portuguese football, it feels like you're going to become a better player on the other end.
Well, because you're going to play consistent.
Right. And it's high-level football as well. So if I were him, I would go. Now, Real Madrid need the striker, so he should stay.
Right.
But if I were him, I'd want to go.
I'm laughing because Gabriel Pessoa wrote, "Who is Mariano?"
Oh,
that is not nice. Gabriel Pessoa, that is really not nice.
Hey, when you consider the goals he scored, that's a great question.
Ryan Moran, ruining a player going to United. Come on now, they need new players to return the glory. This is 100% right move for the club, and if successful, right for the player. That's what he said, Ryan.
Yeah.
I think that he will help the club. It's a great pickup by them. I just hope that this club continues to go in the right direction for a player like Bruno Fernandes' sake, who has a ton of promise. But if put in a bad situation or a situation that does not put him in the best light, such as a Lemar with Atletico Madrid under a wrong system, a player can lose confidence, lose value, and it can cause a serious strain on their career.
You get a right manager who builds a good club around, good team, good squad around Bruno Fernandes. I think he can blow up and be, well, he's already a fantastic talent, but I think he will elevate his stature in the game.
A lot of people saying that Mariano needs to go to a smaller club. Anthony Romeo said that. Richard Murray saying Mariano should have never left Lyon. Yeah, we saw too much promise in him again too soon, and Real Madrid jumped the gun and went to get him when they really should not have.
That was a knee-jerk reaction to Ronaldo leaving.
Absolutely.
That's what happened. And it's like, and he only had one good season at Lyon. He was good, but it was only one good season.
Yeah.
You needed a little more consistency.
Let's move on. Chicharito to LA Galaxy. Speaking of moves that could be done as soon as today, this one should be, it may not be announced today, but the move should be done. We are seeing images of Chicharito playing with Sevilla. So this is the man that came to Sevilla from West Ham in September, and it just hasn't really clicked the way that the world would have wanted. I think that this move to LA Galaxy is phenomenal.
Yes. It's phenomenal for the league. It's phenomenal for LA Galaxy.
Involved.
Everyone, Chicharito, everybody. Southern California, big up to everybody in Southern California. West Side, big up to y'all. That, we said it before, he should have did this yesterday.
Yes.
What's taking so long? What's taking so long? I'm glad he made it. Good for him.
And this whole, Vela versus Chicharito thing, I think that's going to be brilliant. Not only for MLS, but for LA, for Mexican soccer fans, for us who aren't Mexican soccer fans necessarily. But I think this is exactly what you want to see in MLS. You lose Zlatan Ibrahimovic, but you get a great player with a lot of promise who adds another element to that LA rivalry.
And honestly, to tell you the truth, he's better for the league than Zlatan was.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think he's better for the league.
Okay, you're going to have to
than Zlatan.
explain that one.
Yeah, because, obviously the Mexican connection, being in Southern LA, LA Galaxy is a glamour club in MLS. More people in the Americas know him or can identify with him than Zlatan. So I think he's better for the league than Zlatan was. Zlatan, big, and he's younger. So he's less likely to leave after one good season than Zlatan is. So I think it's better for MLS and the league that Chicharito is there over Zlatan.
And that mega transfer rumor that I wanted to tell you guys about earlier in the show, Mbappe to Liverpool. Guys,
What?
it is a real rumor. Could you imagine Kylian Mbappe at Liverpool this summer? I still think he will go to Real Madrid, but this is an actual rumor. And we're going to have to say goodbye to you on that note because time absolutely flies on this show. But just keep that up here. Mbappe to Liverpool. Could it happen?
I gotta drink some water after
Tune
hearing
into
that.
PSG versus Monaco today at 3 o'clock. Our coverage begins. It's going to be a partidazo. No Cavani, which means he's probably on the way out.
Yeah.
Bye.
Oh.